Peace, 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 and welcome to the Origins of Om podcast. I'm your host, Om Maya, and today we're going right into the principles of vibration. In the topic of vibration, nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. Let's get into it. There's a place within yourself that exists that you might not be in tune with. And you can find this place in your meditation. You can find it in something you might focus on, whether it's art, exercise, dance, even music. If you sit and just listen to classical music or just whatever song that really lifts your spirits, there's a vibration, a high vibration that turns on inside of you when you're aiming more towards the positive aspect of things, right? Now, the reason I'm on topics and I go into more of the positive aspect, because the negative is so natural, it's so easy, it's so obvious. And if you're in a space where you're not sure of what that looks like, or in your life you're trying to identify with, what are some of these negative attributes that I might hold that I'm not aware of? Well, this would be the perfect topic to really kind of deflect that and get you to look at, oh, okay, maybe this is why I'm attracting certain things, because I'm vibrating in this way. So, for example, if my thoughts are vibrating on a pain or something emotional that happened to me, and I remember a while back, I used to sit and just dwell on something really sad, right? And you dwell on that sadness, and then you start feeling the sadness, and it's as if you're experiencing it all over again. I cut that out a long time ago because it created an up and down type of emotion throughout the day. And I didn't see that healthy, especially physically, because as I'm vibrating in that thought process, my body is also feeling the effects of that negative thought, maybe the trauma of that experience, or my heart breaking just off of the thought of what happened to me. But the truth is I'm not in that experience. I'm not in that state, right? I'm in this state, and I get to choose how I want to feel, right? And this is a play in everything, right? So let's say you have the choice to respond to something in a negative, impactful way, and that feels good. That's natural. In this realm, that's natural in the physical. But let me take you to a place in the spirit realm, or the astral realm, or what they call the ethereal realm, or the akasha. And in that realm, that is where you'll discover your spirit. That is where you'll discover the you that exists outside of this physical body. And what's exciting about becoming more aware of the spirit is just how close and relatable it is to the physical aspect of life. As you start to practice meditation more, you'll start to open up and be more clear about your purpose, who you are, how you're showing up in your day. Are you vibrating at a high frequency with positive thoughts and great intentions, and observing yourself throughout the day to see if you are responding in a way that's best suit for you in a healthy way? Or are you going straight, what they say, choose violence, which is never the answer, right? And even in that, my form of violence is love. I found myself overcome many fights out of love, just out of the response of, okay, this could really escalate if I go there with you. And instead of me meeting you on your channel, which is like a low frequency, and it's anger mode. So you're loud, you're speaking loud, you're yelling at me, but I don't have to entertain that. I don't have to take that personal because I know, right, how nature works. I know how the body works. I know how consciousness works. People project, period. And so a lot of what you come to realize is when someone is speaking to you about something, if they're sharing an opinion about you, at that moment, what I would do personally is I create a psyche self-defense around myself. I create a vortex, an energy vortex that I protect my energy from, so that if someone is feeling some type of way that day, whether I'm at a job or, wherever else, in public, at the store, and somebody responds in a negative way, I don't take that personal. It has nothing to do with me. Now, the funny thing and the tricky thing about this journey is the little details of things. So say someone offends you and you responded in such a positive way. You did a great job. You didn't pop off the handle. You didn't lose yourself. You stay grounded. You stay firm. But then you take that energy home and you talk about it. You just recreated the whole experience again as if it happened for real. And we all do this. I know I do. So this is something that I'm always learning, always constantly in studies, picking up new waves of understanding and how to operate and respond here. Because the goal here is to perfect your spirit man for the next life or the next experience of life. When you go to sleep at night, some of you have dreams, some of you don't. But when you go to sleep at night, you ever notice in your dreams, you're doing more observing than you are actually experiencing any form of the physical emotions or pain or anything. Now, sometimes, depending on where you're at consciously, you will experience emotions. You'll cry in your dreams, right? You'll experience pain, but you might not feel it. And if you do feel it, then there's a sense of, that's a sign of how you're showing up in the physical realm, or what's happening to you in the physical realm is affecting that which is in the spiritual, or should I say astral? We'll use astral realm because there's an astral plane. That's where when you go to sleep at night and you travel, if you're lucid dreaming, astral traveling, or astral projecting, these are levels of awareness that you attain through your meditation or through creative visualization. Creative visualization is where, you have the imagination of the thing, you think of the thing, you feel it, you taste it, you smell it, you know the sound of it. So you're bringing in all of nature's elements, or all of nature's senses, your physical senses, and then you're recreating it from the mind, right? So again, if you're just dropping in on the podcast here, it's good if you already know about this stuff and you just want to get confirmation, perfect. But if this is your first time hearing this, I do ask that you go and check out the Principles of Mentalism and also the Principles of Correspondence, so that when you come into vibration, you have a little more understanding of what you're looking at within yourself and how you're operating out here. People want to see change and they want to be the change, but they want to do it with their mouths open. And that's not how that works. A lot of that transformation starts with you. It's personal, and it comes from tuning in to your vibration. There are very distinct things that show up in the body when you're vibrating at a low frequency. If you're dealing with dis-eases in the body, this is a sign that your vibration is low. See, nothing can live or survive at the highest frequency. If you're tapped in and you're tuned into the crown, the mind, and you're aware of who's playing what role in you, then you know how to direct and guide that energy. Okay. And so outside of that, there was also the awareness around what you're telling yourself. We talked about that in the law of correspondence. Anytime you're thinking of someone else or yourself in a low frequency, in a low thought, in a sad thought or an angry thought, or you're gossiping, those things tend to actually affect you personally, which attracts more people that you're not asking for. But this is where things get very interesting. I remember I was at this personal development course that I took for like 3 days. And what blew my mind is there was so many people in there that were willing to share. And there was way more people who were not going to say anything. They just wanted to sit back and they just wanted to watch the whole thing go down, right? I am the kind of person, if I am going to invest in anything, energetically, financially, whatever, I'm going to do the work. I'm going to actually be a part of it. I'm going to volunteer, if need be, if necessary, just to get a clear understanding of what the instructor is trying to prove a point about, right? And so I remember it was this one girl that was in the room and she just swore that all these negative people around her, like something was wrong with them and it wasn't her. And the denial was unbelievable. I mean, it was like, I just remember sitting back, like observing, like, wow, she really doesn't see she's the negative frequency attracting more negative people in her life. And she stood on that for 3 whole days. Even at the end, when we were getting the revelation of the whole purpose of the course, it created a space where emptiness was necessary, where you became so clear about all the drama that you created in your life, from the stories that you've said about yourself and what happened and what you made it mean. Those levels became, it was like it never happened for her. It was like, hey, all these negative people in my life and, I don't know why. And I'm such a good person and I do for everyone. Yeah, you can do for everyone. You can be the ice cream lady. You could be the lady that, serves all the children in the neighborhood, or you're always supporting others. You take care of homeless people, whatever. And at the end of the day, if your mindset is in the sense of pride, okay, because pride comes before destruction. If your mindset is in a sense of like, I'm doing this because I'm trying to be a good person and I'm expecting something good to come back to me, like all of those thoughts of intention of doing it for something in return is going to only create more chaos in your life, because it's not pure innocence, right? Like, I genuinely want to do this for you and I don't care if you support me or give back to me or anything, right? And that's the feeling, that's the neutral mindset that we all must learn to attain in order to see the results of our life transform, where we attract more good things in our life. So like I talked about, I think in the first, the principle of mentalism. If I want to get clear and I want to get quiet and I want more peace in my life, first thing is first that I always hear Spirit say to me is like, ask. Ask, make the request, make the command. I don't beg. I really don't even go, can you? No, I make the command statement. I will have peace. I will experience joy. I will be the best version of myself. I will it to me. I will that energy. And then I don't only will it by speaking, but I now take the actions to do it. So right when you make those decisions, you're going to always be tested. It's always going to be somebody in your life that's going to show up, all right, that you thought you overcame, but you didn't. Or it's always going to be someone that, or something that happens that's going to require you to hold fast to that feeling, that statement, that desire that you are creating for yourself. And so I remember, I'm going to share this other story and then I'm going to tap out of it. But I remember I was talking to a young lady at my tax office I was working at, and she was going through some things at home, and so I was sharing some light with her. And right after, and this has actually happened a couple times for me, but right after I had the conversation, I get a phone call. Someone broke into my mother's vehicle, and my children were in the back. Mom just ran in to take one of the children to the restroom. The other child was, the other three children were in the car. There was an older child, so it wasn't like she left babies in the vehicle. And she has tinted windows because she's about that life. And she's such a loving and nurturing mother. And she just heard that there was screaming, and the children were like, oh my God, they were startled. So the person that was trying to break in ended up leaving. And I remember hearing that on the phone, my heart dropped. And like everything in me was just like, everything I said was just like, whoop, it got real quiet. All I could think about was getting home, making sure my family was okay. Because the first thing you hear is your mom's car is broken into and the children. And that's all I needed to hear for me to be like, what? But instead of me going home and creating a scene or, acting like I saw something on TV, because a lot of people act like these characters on television. So they have no sense of self and no true, pure essence of themselves because they are portraying a character, whether it's a celebrity or somebody on TV. So I came home and I just made sure everybody was okay. What it showed me, though, was, for one, my children are definitely protected. I don't care what's going on right now in the world. I have put nothing but protection and good energy on them. And I'm mindful of how I think of them. I don't think the worst of them. I don't fear the worst for them. I'm always seeing them grow and progress because I'm like, listen, you came through me and you chose me. That means you didn't come here to play. You came here to do this work and ascend, period. So with that, it showed me, wow, every time I get to a revelation in my life where I come to terms of understanding or I end up sharing light with someone about something, at that time, going through those transformations, okay, it became lessons right after. Okay, now show me. Okay, now show me. And with that, you have to know that you are being witnessed. You have to know that spirit is witnessing everything. Divine Mother and Father are watching over you, or your ancestors or whatever, whoever you want to put in that place to make you feel inspired to do the right thing. That exists. And the excitement around that is this realm becomes more of a blur. Even though you're here, you're present in everything, you're working with everyone, everything is coming from the spirit first. So this realm is like a replica of what is. So when I go into my dream state, I can see everything kind of similar to what it looks like here, right? Yet the people might be distorted, or the objects that are there might be a little off, or they might not operate the way that they do here, right? In any dream, everyone has, issues with the phone and numbers, right? Or maybe you're a bomb at it. Good. That means you're sharp in the brain. I'm still there trying to figure out how to call somebody. But the more that I dream about that, the more I become, because I'm doing my meditations at night, but because I'm doing certain practices that sharpen my memory, sharpen my awareness, and I set those intentions when I go into my dream state, I'm able to get a little more as I go in. I'm aware of where I'm at. I'm aware of what I'm doing. I am also aware that when I wake up, that energy is still with me. That experience is almost like I went and did some work somewhere, or I was doing something, and it's like my days are starting to come together. They're colliding, where did I do that in a dream, or was that in this realm? Right? And so learning how to have awareness around those layers of the physical and the mental and the casual body and the ether body and the spirit and all that, all these layers of the body, when you become more aware of your existence, then you're a lot more careful with how you treat yourself and others. When you are mindful of your internal organs, you become more intimate with your organs, because you know that these are the roots of all of your illnesses, all of the illnesses, all of the dis-ease. When your kidneys, your liver, your spleen, your gallbladder, when all those things are out of harmony, when one is not functioning, or one is functioning more than the other, or one is having to do more than the other, this is where being in tune with your internal self, your health, your mind, your environment, what you're putting in your portal, your mouth, in both of your portals, all your portals, all the places where you got holes at. Okay. Mindfulness around what's going in there. Okay. If you're sniffing something, right, you might want to chill out on that, because that's blocking your ability to be able to have mental control over things, especially if you're allowing that substance to run the show. If you're eating or drinking certain things that don't agree with your gut, this is where y'all have trust issues. This is where trust issues start. Because for one, you're not aware of what is actually going in you, and you're not conscious of how it processes through the body. I encourage you to look on YouTube, because on YouTube, at least you can look and see each organ and how they operate in the body, and then meditate on how that looks within yourself, and then do the work as far as you, what you're eating, or how you're processing the food. Anytime I eat, and this is in all of the good Veda books. I think what is it? I got all these books in my head. The Bhagavad Gita, Dr. Sebi books, even Layla Africa books, just all the books about like awareness around your health, who you are in the spirit. One of the things that stood out was, in all that you do, and I'm going to point out one thing specifically, which is eating food. Because a lot of times people eat unconsciously. They're eating looking at TV, or they're eating talking, or they're eating looking at their phone. Take a minute and bliss your food. Whether you pray over it, or place your hands and do some healing energy over your food, or look at it for a minute. And envision that food going into your belly. Thank your food and say, you nourished my body. This felt so good. It's going to take good care of me. I'm going to be healthy and fine. I'm good. And I'm not saying, you're sitting there saying that to a big old cheeseburger. Now, don't get me wrong. Mind over matter, but that comes in time. Right now, you're in learning mode. So you're going to go through hardship. You're going to go through challenges. You're going to have to learn from your mistakes and correct them and do them right. So on this journey, it's going to take some sacrifices and some discipline. And you got to be willing to sacrifice and discipline. If you're really trying to get out of this loop, out of this constant loop of this realm of constantly going through emotions. And I'm not saying incarnation. I'm talking right here, right now, because life and death is always happening. You can speak on somebody's life negatively. And that's a moment where you kill the aspect of yourself, because what you must remember is we are reflecting each other. And then you deflect when you, or project when you speak out something so harsh and negative towards somebody. You got to be mindful of what you're saying. This causes a lot of sicknesses in the body, mental dysfunctions, bipolarism, whatever. And I don't even like to give medical terms because none of that's real for me. A lot of that stuff, a lot of those medical terminologies are bull crap. We're talking origin, nature, natural, spirit. We're talking the real deal, not what man made up. So when we're talking about what's really there, it's a hurt person. It's a person in pain who, for one, is not conscious of their breath. So they're easy to spark off anger. They're not taking the time out to slow down, to breathe, to process what's happening in front of them, and then speak out of love, out of comfort, out of peace. There's nothing wrong with being angry, but there's a way to be angry and your heart doesn't have to suffer. Your heart doesn't have to go into palpitation, or, your blood pressure's up, or, you're drained physically, right? There's a way to communicate. And if I'm angry, I can raise my voice and I can make a face and I can curl my lips up, right? But my heart is still cool. I'm still good. I haven't caused any harm to myself in that manner, right? And I got my point across because I'm not speaking to the body at that point. I'm speaking into the spirit. We're all one in that. We got the same light. So I'm reminding you, you don't even know why you're in relationships with certain people, but you're in relationships with certain people because those are your teachers. Maybe y'all made an agreement before you came here. All right, you know what? I'll be with this person, and their goal is to remind me, why I'm here, and I'm supposed to remind them why they're here. So we're doing this building up and uplifting each other so that we can ascend together. But if you're disliking the person you're with because they lack mental development or awareness around themselves, then what's happening is that's the perfect opportunity for you to come in and go, okay, how can I create a more peaceful place or space, right? And for one, I have to show up differently. I can't respond the way I used to. I can't do certain things the way that I used to, because that's pure insanity. I can't keep repeating the same things over and over. I got to switch up. I got to do something different. I know the reason that I stay on social media is because I like to keep up with what's happening in the world and know how people are thinking and how they're operating. And with me observing that, I'm also working on myself and controlling how I perceive things and my judgment towards it, because that's one of the air elements of the Aquarius is, or even the Libra and the Gemini, and even in you, the air element of yourself wants to judge all the time. That it's easy. Oh, if she's doing this and that's that, and this is why this is this way, and then you're all making up assumptions without facts. Let's practice having facts on the table first. And then how about when we connect with somebody, instead of throwing those facts on them, right? We share what we know, and then we're open to other opinions about that. We don't have to agree, right? Yet if we come to an agreement, that's even better, because we're building together, and we're bringing ourselves up out of this lower dimensional frequency that we've been living in. Okay. So one of the things I do want to point out is learn to trust your gut. Take better care of your gut, because if you don't take care of your health in your stomach, what's going to happen is your mind is going to be affected. And when your spirit wants to reveal itself and it wants to express something to you, you struggle with knowing if that's the real thing or not, because you got parasites in you that are feeding off that energy. They're called elementaries. Look it up. Elementaries and larvae, and there's other ones as well that are listed. But Distinctly this, because we're talking about the gut. When you eat this food and it breaks down, there's certain energies that are not physical beings, right? That live in the gut that we call demons because they come from the mind. It's a negative thought or a negative frequency that causes a negative reaction or a negative manifestation. And this isn't bad, right? This is awareness around those things and how to work with them. So just like when, as a woman, you're aware that when you take probiotics and how you take too much of it, and it's like this good bacteria has over dominated, you need some of the so-called bad bacteria in order to keep a balance. Hello, we as women should know balance is necessary, right? Your pH needs to be balanced, or you're going to be all out of whack. Your womb is going to be all out of whack. So when you take better care of your organs, your blood, your kidneys, and your spleen, and all those great things inside of you, you're actually taking better care of everything else outside of you. You'll start noticing the transformation outside of you, and you'll hear your higher self when he wants to speak and say, hey, don't do that. Let's do this. Try this. Look this up. Study this. Consider trying this. And so you become more confident, more in tune with yourself, more excited. No, this realm is your test. This is the challenge out here. This is the challenge to where you're going to end up next. And if you're manifesting negative thoughts all the time, and you're manifesting fear, and you're manifesting anger, and you're projecting, and you're allowing the influences out here to determine how you move forward in life, and you're trying to protest, and you're trying to do all this stuff, then you are creating another reality for yourself that will exist. Like, oh, I hate this world, and this world is ghetto, and blah, 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 blah. Change that mind frame, because that's going on out here, but that doesn't have to happen in you. And if it's not going on in you, then why should it matter? Because life is having its experience. You know what I mean? And it's going to have its experience. If you're walking down the street and you see two dogs humping, what are you going to do? Be like, oh, stop that. Stop that. That's so impure. No, you're going to be like, oh, that's what dogs do. That's their nature. Okay. So look at the nature of human. There's an animal. There's the animal in you. And then there's the man, the higher self, the Holy Spirit, the conscious Christ, right? That is within you. So you're working on controlling the animalistic aspect of yourself, that high, wanting to control everything. More so, this realm pushes the agenda of sexuality. So the sexual aspect of yourself, that wanting to always be penetrated, change that, turn that from always wanting to have the activity of sex into more breath work. I know a lot of breath practices where you can bring up the Kundalini through the tantric practice of pranayamas. And whether it's the, fast pace of breath, or a slow, steady, gentle, intimate process of breathing, what happens is when that urge turns on in the lower chakra, your job is to bring that energy up. You can translate all these other topics with, sperm retention and all that. Fine. And do what works for you, because the goal is, right, to have self-control over those vibrational urges that come in through something you have maybe watched or something you ate. A lot of times you feel turned on and, horny, but you're not horny. You've got a lot of parasites going on in you. And so it's probably tickling certain areas of your body and you feel aroused. To be honest, yes. And when you do, be mindful. Oh, okay, what is that and why is that? Okay. This is why, as a woman, we must control those desires, because what happens is we tend to do things excessively and we burn ourselves out. And these sense pleasures that we so desire that we want so much of, a lot of times it's really the disconnect from our source energy power, and we're wanting to be in union and connection with that. When you really start having self control over yourself, the sexual part of your life doesn't become a priority. It's not it's not the God of your life. It's not the ruler of your life. But that means you're gonna have to unplug from a lot of things that are distracting you and promoting those desires to want to feel those pleasures. Okay, and that's not just sexually, that's in what you eat as well. So learn to love your body. If you hate your body, take out the time to actually go in the restroom and rub on your body and say, I love you. You're perfect. I don't need to do anything with you. Because the honest truth is that you can go and do whatever you want to that body, and then you just created a vanity. Like, you're now in this vain aspect of existence where you're so caught up in your ass, and you're so caught up in your breasts, and you're so caught up on your face that you're not even worried about spirit anymore. You think that's not even a factor, and then you're wondering why you're having deja vus all over again, because you done cycle back into the same experience to learn your lesson that you didn't learn in the last life or the last time. So spend more time with yourself, okay? Keep your vibrations high. Continue to promote things in your life that keep you in high spirits. Try to minimize your social media and your television, all those stimulants. Get a book. I don't care if you don't like to read. Pick up a book and just start reading. This is another form of concentration. This is another form of one point minded. It's not so much of just staring at the candle. That's one way. Or staring at an apple or whatever object that, interests you. It's concentration in all that you do. Concentration in your washing dishes. Concentration on eating. Concentration on exercising. These are things that you want to implement in your life so that you're balancing out your fire, your air, your earth, and your water elements in your body. When you learn how to govern the elements within, then you're in harmony with the nature of elements out here in the physical realm. And then all it is just a beautiful dance, baby. Now, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. It was such a pleasure being able to share this topic with you. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Feel free again, connect with me, send me a message. If you have, any good feedback, I would like to hear it, because I'm actually enjoying myself creating a lot of this. And it's happening just simultaneously from the spirit, and I'm allowing spirit to move. And I do want to, get some feedback about how these messages are resonating in you. I want to thank you for your time and your patience. All peace and love to you. Later.